we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado. This is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
Just bring this in here.
This should be the intro.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was
You're taller than me.
Yeah,
right,
you're taller than me, Kev. That's why it looks like this to that.
It doesn't matter what it looks like. What
This
matters
to
is
that.
This is episode 238 of Discussion Combustion Podcast. Thanks again for everybody that supports this show. Hope everyone's having a fantastic holiday season. I'm going to tell you this. Today's episode is brought to you by Arthur Raw.
Okay, baby, and that is because of co-founder of this bad boy here. It's so awesome to have Amanda with us. But real quick, we're super excited. We announced our fan of the year, Lupita. So
Lupita Leon, congrats.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Lupita. Yeah, she's been supporting us so much, and we're really excited to announce that. And we're so happy to have you across the couch. Amanda, thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed my time thus far, so
Good.
I'm glad we have some more time here on the clock.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. we are on the clock. Let's go. So it was pretty cool because you reached out to us about a week ago, I think. We were sitting here just kind of, getting ready for our show last week with Connor Locke, and then we got a message, and you're like, hey, I'd love to do the show. And I was like, it's always fun when we get those organic, folks in the community that reach out, find us. I mean, that's what's great about what we do here. It's great about what you do, is about helping creators, collaborators, what have you. It's about helping everybody. So obviously, let's kind of dive into it. First of all, I don't know if I can pronounce the name of this nonprofit. I was going to take a stab at it on the Instagram story.
Why don't you give it a stab right now?
No, I'm not going to.
Really? Okay, so it's just
Is it
Avant-Garde.
What is it?
Avant-Garde.
Avant-Garde?
The
Avant-Garde.
AVANT
So,
dash
I would've ruined it.
GARD.
Avant-Garde.
But it's a play on linguistics.
Okay.
It's because obviously we would never be able to purchase the domain. I guess it's a little nerdy, but yeah, we wouldn't be able to get that. But
why?
Because it's just too popular. It's too common. It's like a dictionary
I didn't
word.
know that.
But you can replace that dash with an E, and it's the same thing. It's just separated.
Okay, so what does avant-garde mean?
So avant-garde is just an old, I think it's a Latin term.
Mm-hmm.
Don't quote me
sounds
on that.
Latin.
Maybe
It sounds
cut
Latin.
that out.
It sounds Latin.
But it just means a group of experimental, thought-provoking group. So
Okay.
avant is like the thought-provoking, and the guard is people. These the guard of the experimental, of the creations, all of that. So I thought it was just going to be a perfect title for my nonprofit, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to mix up all the local artists across the variety of mediums, any creators, really. I say artists, but all of us here in Colorado are
creators.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we kind of all dabble. We all collaborate. But with that, I know Colorado has always been tough to get that economic ecosystem within the media, within entertainment. I know we've voted on it. I've been here, born and raised. My parents, we grew up with the DCPA, the Denver Center for Performing Arts. We went to Dracula with schools, field trips. So Colorado has always been the giver of arts, so to speak, and artists aren't able to actually thrive here financially. So I thought, while I was working for another nonprofit who actually empowers entrepreneurs, I thought, why can't we empower artists? We enjoy the art here. It's for public viewing. It's for everybody. It beautifies the city.
Yes.
So why is it that we still have that struggling artist stigma? So that's another thing that we want to dismantle. We want to create this nonprofit, create full-time opportunities, not only for people to have 9-to-5 jobs, but jobs that are centered in the arts.
And do you feel like the Denver, the Rhino District, do you feel like that place is doing things to help that? Because I've heard mixed reviews, they're trying to do housing and make an artist-friendly district and a great living for people who are in the arts as their profession. Do you feel like that district is kind of helping with that, or have you heard much about that?
I have. I try to keep my ear to the ground.
Okay.
But I believe that they're tapping into the artist industry here. I know that there's a lot of artists taking those opportunities, as they should. I don't know if they are directly impacting the local economy as much as they should, and because of we have like a $14 billion arts and culture sector here in Colorado, the entire state. That includes Boulder, Denver, Aurora, Cherry Creek. We have a lot of money going into the arts here, yet a lot of these artists that participate in these events aren't able to get that money.
So, where does it go? Like, where is it going to?
I believe it's a lot of funding, grants. It's almost like inaccessible money, which is why I created a nonprofit, because I wanted to create a pipeline for that money to directly impact, I wouldn't say the underground art scene, but people who have been here their whole lives, people who have contributed to, again, the beautification of Colorado, of the Rhino Arts District, that used to be a warehouse district.
Yeah.
They literally turned it around, and not just because of the local businesses or, these festivals, but because they came in and did the hard work. I think that just like teachers in this state, they should have more access to more money.
Well, it looks like you're doing a good job based upon the minimal time that I've been following your story and like the stories on Instagram and stuff like that, because you do post different type of grants that are available. And it's really just educating people on what is actually already out there, what's already in place, right? And they're just underutilizing these different type of grants, or not loans. Like, is that all it is grants mainly?
It's grants. It's other opportunities too. A lot of people want to get involved in giving the arts money, but that includes the ability to access it. Okay. We do have a newsletter that we run. I put out bi-monthly, and I try my best to curate those funding opportunities in there that are outside of the mainstream. We've got cafe that a lot of the artists here know about, so that they can apply for other opportunities, or art gallery showings so that they have opportunities to sell art. A lot of those comes with applications fees, percentages get cut from their sales. All of our artists that we include in our shows, we either try to give them resources, money, we even create platforms for free, and all of their sales, 100% goes back to the artist.
Nice.
So we're just trying to funnel that grant funding, which, mind you, we've only been up for like 2.5 years. I've been running this. So we're at a pivotal point where we are tapping into those resources. We just wrapped up interviews for an account executive that we're going to hire one on Friday.
Oh, that's exciting.
So hopefully that's going to generate a more, stable economy for the artists here, tapping into sponsorships, corporate sponsorships, local businesses. And then we just put out a job posting for an intern. So we've got already 3 applicants in, and one is a personal connection, but we'll see. We don't want to scale too rapidly, because we want to make sure that, again, these like curated opportunities are there for the people that need it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's terrific for sure. I mean, it sounds like you have a calculated plan, a trajectory of where this thing is headed, right? So you guys are almost kind of like a liaison to the artist a little bit. It's a tool, it's a resource, it's something for almost like, I think of Connor Locke, who, does amazing things, painting murals and things like that around the city. Just some of the artists that I know here in Denver. These guys can kind of get involved, and they have an opportunity to maybe get exposure or get into, an art gala or whatever. Just, you guys provide opportunities for these artists to get their work heard and known about.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like I found you, that's kind of my goal. I like going out or cold outreach. I feel like I get a lot of response that way. So I reach out to a lot of artists that are here that don't know about us, that possibly want to get their art out there. I've met a lot of people that don't realize that they could do that. So yeah, I think it's a really great opportunity for a lot of artists here in town to link up with us. We're going to create even more platforms. We have a membership that we're creating where we're going to offer marketing services for artists. I think that's something that they need out there, actual business development opportunities and skills. I know that there's opportunities for art galleries and for festivals, for murals, but I think an ongoing support system for these artists so that they can actually focus on what they do. I'm hoping, 5 to 10 years, we can be more of like an agency using government funding to really uplift the economy of a lot of people here.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, and that's big picture goals. And, it's for something that helps a lot of people. To be a creator, for me creating, I obviously have a day job too, and this is a wonderful opportunity. The podcast has brought so many riches into my life, whether that's income or experience, and that's extremely fulfilling to be a creator. So not only are you helping people feel fulfilled, but then also to observe the art, to go out there and experience a comedian or watch a podcast or look at somebody's painting. Like there's so much experience that you get from viewing those things. So overall, I would say you're going after something and helping something that is helpful towards society in the long run. So I do like that. But then my question was, where you're at right now is a level of success, right? Like you're able to get an account executive on, you're starting to grow, be able to have work for an intern to do things of that nature. 2 years ago, you started it, right? This nonprofit. And so I know that you're from Colorado, you've traveled, lived in other places. You weren't always doing this nonprofit. So like what led you to doing what you're doing now? Like what were you doing before, and what kind of like was the pivotal moment? Like I got to switch gears.
Well, as all great projects, they're always like years in the making of actually taking that first step. So I ran into a company that was a nonprofit. They also helped entrepreneurs. I then became this like instructor to these entrepreneurs who, one of the qualifications, you have to generate over $1 million in revenue in your business in order to be a part of this group. Yeah. And so I found myself teaching these entrepreneurs how to be better. And I wouldn't say I'm an expert at that, not at all, but they found a way to do it together. They found a sort of network within each other to be able to experience, share, a think tank, so to speak. And, I am an entrepreneur, but my main interest and my main passion in life has always been a very creative avenue, whether that was ceramics, painting, music. I have a degree in photography. Like, I think I just try to tap into a lot of things, fashion. So as much as I really enjoyed that position, I just found it to be passionless. Even though I loved what I was doing, I loved all the people, I loved everything that I was able to experience. I was able to travel and create these events for these entrepreneurs in other countries, the DR. We went to Mexico.
Did you travel there too?
Yeah, we traveled, and we like set up this whole event on site for over hundreds of people, and teaching these conferences and running the mic and all of that. Okay. I just thought, what a great way to set artists up. And why aren't we doing that? And of course, all the entrepreneurs were really inspiring. And one of the guys I met, he had a tattoo that said, "If not now, when? And if not me, then who?" Yeah. And I was like, "You're right."
I think we had a guest that used had quoted that. If
Yeah.
not now, when? I
Yeah.
don't remember who it was. I want to say maybe it was Nate, but
I mean, it's some
it's a
true,
great
some true
quote.
shit.
So when it comes to like the art, you know, and supporting art, there's a lot of things that are encapsulated under that umbrella, right? As creators, you have artists that do painting and drawings. You have musicians. You have podcasters, right? So like, as this thing is coming together and you've launched this, what have you seen like majority so far? Of course, there's, you know, sky's the limit of quote unquote artists coming into this organization that have helped you. Would you say they're painters? Would you say they're musicians? I mean, what are you seeing kind of flock to that market right now?
Well, in a world of diversity, all right, so I'm going to put that right here, but we'll get back to that. Mostly painters, of course, visual arts, photographers, but there is a stretch. You know, anyone who's not represented in the room, I always try to reach out. I've had a comedian. I've had a singer. One of my board members is a singer, and she just, like, performed for the Veterans Gala. And,
Nice.
Terrific.
But I always try to, again, cold reach out to the ones that are not being represented or flooding the gates, so to speak. But again, painters, ceramics is a huge one because of the Art Student League of Denver. They've got a really great program there. Trying to think what else. Sorry. What has been surprisingly a big flock is speakers.
Okay.
Like motivational speakers, public
Motivational
speakers.
speakers, wellness coaches,
Yep.
a lot of coaches out there that are creating these like communities.
Yeah, big market for it.
Absolutely. Also, like these co-working spaces are full of people who are creatives.
So it's just
That's
like
terrific.
this huge. There's huge. Yeah, because if it's beyond the day job, generally what most people will do in order to feel fulfilled is like they'll create something like, oh, let me paint as a hobby, or let me, you know, play around on the guitar a little bit, or maybe practice the keyboard, or
crafters,
yeah.
like knitting. I've seen those sewing.
Okay.
I've had a gal come.
Crochet?
Yes, fancy ladies. Have you seen
The
that?
fancy
No,
lady
I'm not familiar
crochets.
with that.
Yes.
But I'm familiar with crocheting. I'm not good
Do
at
you
it.
know? I'm okay. I haven't practiced in a while.
What did you
There's
make a
specific art to
beanie?
it.
Did you make a beanie?
Have I made a beanie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Was it crocheted?
Yes.
So that-
crochet is really easy.
Is it
yeah.
though? Because I know it's like a
Knitting is
loop,
the
swoop, and
one.
pull. Yeah, knitting. I'm not good at any of that stuff.
Knitting's the one where it's like really like you got to get in through the threads, whereas like crocheting is like knotting.
It's like a
You
rhythm
just like
to
a
it.
knot. Yeah.
Okay.
That wonderful blanket
Okay.
that you when you spend the night
I
at
feel
my
like it's a
place.
sailor's
Yeah.
knot
Crochet.
almost.
Oh, that's great.
A sailor's knot?
Or no, like it's a loop knot.
A loop knot.
Loop knot. Yeah.
Like it's like so then it tightens on itself as you continue to weave.
But then if it like becomes like if you unhook it, it becomes unraveled.
Okay.
But see, isn't there like still a calculated approach to crocheting? Like if you're trying to do like a red, white, and blue or like a theme, right? You have to know, okay, now it's time to go to this color or whatever.
You got to count. Yeah,
See
it's
that-
all
so
math.
it's-
Like
So it's not that easy.
it's strategic.
Strategic.
Yeah, you
It
got to have like
involves
a
a
whole
lot of
plan laid out.
Most things are like that though. You're like, oh, that shouldn't be too hard, and then you go to try it.
And you're like,
and
oh,
then
this is a little harder than I thought.
Oh, there's always extra
A little
steps.
bit.
There's always those hidden extra
Do you
steps.
guys always push forward
With what?
with like those extra steps? If you're like, this is like
Not in life. I didn't always, but now at this point in my life, I do the right thing.
We go all the way.
for the right reasons, even
right?
if it's hard. Yeah.
follow through.
Go
Yeah.
like hell. Go all the way. And yes, art.
Yeah.
Pretty much just sums
Believe
it
and
up.
Okay.
achieve it. Believe and
Full
achieve
Yeah.
send. You got a full
Yeah.
send.
100%.
It's
Yes.
like, oh, this is hard. I'm going to give up now. Perfect opportunity to work this quote in.
Oh, yep.
People do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. And so when things get tough,
Ooh.
let's go back to Complacent Boulevard. And unfortunately, that's just the general mindset of people. I'm not degrading those individuals. I've been there myself. That's just where it's easier to stay on Complacent Boulevard than to take that
Okay.
left onto Full Send Highway.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that was a learned skill or that you came with that?
I did not come with that, no.
At what point did you acquire it?
It was an aftermarket part. I had to purchase it, and it was on back order for a long time.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Once it arrived and we got it bolted on, there were some issues. We had to go back to the shop. It was a work in progress.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it still is. You know, just like anything, you got to do routine oil
there's
changes and
maintenance
things like
that
that.
needs to
There's
be done.
maintenance that has
Yeah.
to be done. This isn't just like...
You don't feel like you were that as like a kid, like pre-pubescent?
I think my mom would probably think that, but I was a difficult kid.
I feel like hormones really throw us off our path for like a long time, and then we finally like figure out how to be on it.
Yeah.
Be on hormones, right? Or
That's
like,
fair.
Be beyond hormones.
Yeah. Like somehow in the, I don't know if I want to say my age, but no. After you hit 30, I feel like you, like, your body is like
Things change a little bit.
tolerant to all of that changes. And you're like, okay, you like hit a plateau.
You think it's a
And
plateau?
it makes a little sense.
I suppose that's true. Yeah, I mean, I'm coming up on
20s is
35,
rough.
so, you know, I feel like my 20s, I didn't know what the hell was going on. The teens, I mean, that was a rough time. That was just a rough time being a teenager.
It was a lot of like trying stuff, right? For a lot of firsts.
Yeah,
I
a lot
mean,
of
ho-
firsts.
hopefully you're living like that, so then you get to experience life and get to be a little crazy. Because if you don't have an opportunity to live and be crazy and stuff, then you end up getting older and you're like, well, what if I was crazy? What if I did do the crazy
I
things?
think then you would lose it,
You
right?
know? Like as an older person, like you're like
You
upset.
can't gain time.
Yeah, because you didn't do it.
You got to get a little
So-
crazy, as Seal says.
You do got to get a little crazy.
Seal knew exactly what he was talking about.
I think there's a right place and a right time in your own timeline.
Yes.
There's the right kind of
Right.
crazy, right? I mean, you got to still be within the borders a little bit.
You're
Yes.
right. You don't want to go off.
You don't want to go. I mean,
You
because
don't
like I
wanna-
always preach full send, but full send crazy could get off the
But
rails
you have
pretty
to
quick.
test the limits. Like, how far can crazy go for you?
Well, what does crazy mean, though?
For me, crazy was
True.
crazy is repeating the same task and expecting
that's-
different results.
Well, that's
Isn't that-
insanity.
Wow.
is that
That's the
insanity?
definition of insanity.
That is
Yeah.
the dictionary definition
Yeah.
of crazy.
of insanity. Is doing the same thing
That's
over and over
insanity.
again, expecting a different result.
Okay. yeah,
Crazy could be a couple things, like, oh wow,
So
that got
too
crazy.
is when you drive yourself insane. Okay.
Yeah. Uh huh.
So that's when
Now
it's,
we're getting
that's,
somewhere.
That's too crazy is when you actually
When you
drive
full
yourself
send
insane.
crazy, then you could go insane. Maybe.
Yes.
May-
Yeah.
There's no guarantees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had my opportunities to go full send crazy. I guess we'll call full send crazy.
Okay.
And
That's that FSC right there.
FSC, baby. But that led to like cars getting repoed. That led to a lot of bad things, right?
Yeah.
And then so after, and that was all in my 20s, and I started to come out of it in my early 30s, really to bring it back to your point. Once you hit like these 30s, you kind of get over some things. And from there, that's when I personally developed I'm going to do it right for the right reason, even if it's hard. Like, I'm not cutting corners mentality. That's when I gained that mentality, because I realized that anytime that I thought I was saving time by cutting a corner, I actually always had to circle back in life, and then it cost me more time, and it was more of a headache. And I knew I didn't give it my best. And so it was like, I was kind of screwing myself
Right.
to kind of full circle that.
Right.
But have you ever personally went so crazy that you went too crazy and tasted insanity?
Oh, I mean, I try to play it safe.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I did take advantage of living in Europe. No one was find out what I was doing. And I
Okay.
definitely don't know those people anymore.
Okay. And we don't even know that happened.
No.
Yeah.
It's true. I could be just repeating a story that I've practiced really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of art.
When I lived in Germany, it was a day in Belgium.
I heard that
Nice.
they like sausage in Germany, from what I hear.
But that's because the sausage in Germany is good.
Is it good?
The sausage here is I don't know what they feed us, but it's really good in
questionable.
That
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Is the sausage is really good over there, and that doesn't necessarily mean a sexual reference. It just means that
Although
it's tasty.
it's very fitting for Germany.
That's fair.
That is very a cultural.
Well, that's a
thing,
European
I
thing in
think.
general.
Well, the German sex dungeon or something like that.
Yeah, the French
is
and all.
I mean, that is their thing.
Sex dungeons?
Is it their thing?
Yeah.
Did the Germans create?
I don't know
the
about
sex
that.
dungeon?
Well, I mean, maybe.
I mean, no, I'm saying like that is a thing for them
Okay.
when you go there.
Okay, so they got like
oh.
it's like advertised on billboards.
Do you get like
and
an
stuff.
invite?
There
Or
was like
yeah.
a toy store next to like a sex store when I first
Like a kid's toy
landed.
store?
Yeah.
And then next to a sex store?
Yes.
That's interesting.
I thought so too.
I mean, that way everyone can shop
But it
at
was
the same
that's
time.
because it's like
That's true.
normal, you know, because it's like not a really like it's not a far jump. It's
Yeah.
right next door.
It's much more normalized in Europe, I feel like. But I think America's coming a long way. I mean, we have a sex shop right across from the studio right
But
here.
it does make sense. Kids and sex are pretty exclusive.
They come from
To
kids
each
come from
other.
sex.
I know
This is true.
It does.
Toy store,
It frightens
sex
me at
store,
times.
It's very like it makes sense.
We have a very good Would You Rather on that on Happy Friday tomorrow, so be sure to tune in on the Would You Rather regarding sex. But yeah, so Germany. I've just heard. I watched a cooking show actually this week. I love cooking shows.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to watch because I like to do cooking. And so they James May, it's called Oh Cook on Amazon, free plug. He was doing an episode on sausage. And it was all the German sausages. And he's like, all my German friends are probably going to be pissed because I'm not going to do it right. Like, these guys take it very, very seriously. On the edible side, I mean. I guess sausage is both edible on both sides. But I'm saying that, the type you put a little bit of stone ground mustard on.
Okay. The top shelf mustard.
I guess you could do that either way.
They
Hey,
take
come on,
it
come on.
very seriously, and it's so good. I did stumble upon one in a meadow one day, like just
In a meadow?
in a meadow.
A sausage?
No, well, it was like a sausage restaurant that,
Oh,
like
okay.
a pork house.
I thought you
a
meant like you were
brat
just
house.
Porkhouse in a meadow in Germany.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's their thing. Like
This
they,
sounds like
that's
the
how they
beginning.
do it.
Beginning to a wonderful story. Please continue.
You have to walk like to a through a trail of like this golden. Well, in the springtime, it's like golden
Yeah.
yellow.
Sounds amazing.
It was. I took a picture. I've got it printed on my wall.
Oh, fantastic.
They take their brat serious.
I can appreciate anything that's taken seriously. You know, when you have some kind of passion behind it, and it's like we actually care about the product we're putting out, regardless of what it is, there's just a level of respect there, I feel like.
I agree.
I'm trying to think of something that like somebody could take too seriously that would like bother you, but you would still respect them because of how serious they took it.
I mean, I think when you start talking like professional cornhole throwing, those guys
Yeah.
get really serious when it's supposed to be a fun game. But
Yeah.
you can take that. I mean, I'm competitive. I get very dialed into cornhole, but they take it to like ESPN to Ocho, like it's on the television.
Huh.
That's true.
You know what I
That's
mean?
true. Where do you
So-
go to play cornhole?
Where do I play cornhole?
Yeah.
Usually when I'm tailgating for like a football game or maybe a NASCAR
Do you have
race.
like a set you set up?
No, I don't have one.
Customized like
Somebody usually has them.
beanbags?
I just show up and use their stuff. They're like, this guy's unprepared.
Yeah.
You know?
But you will have a toothpick.
Well, call me. I got a whole set.
You got a
Yeah,
set
I
up?
have a set.
Are you good?
I've got checkered. No, I'm not good. But I
Okay.
do have a set.
But you got checkered stuff?
I've got checkered beanbags,
Oh,
white
because
beanbags.
this guy's the racer of my entire friend
Well,
group.
Okay.
we talked about that a little bit before we went on air. Yeah, racing is my deal. And even that you can take too seriously,
Yeah.
you know?
oh,
That's true.
okay.
Because I
Like-
take it pretty seriously.
Like Bandamere racing?
So, unfortunately, Bandamir's RIP.
Yeah.
There's no more Bandamere. They
Last
shut it down.
season was
Wow.
last season.
I was very
Oh.
fortunate to be there for the final event with my good buddy Schween, and we got to see the final race.
That's
it.
like
It's
a
done.
Have you been?
staple.
Did you ever go?
No.
You
missed
never
it.
been, huh?
No,
The
I'm
good-
from here and I never went.
So the good
it was
news
just
is-
not my thing, you know?
Yeah.
I have been to the mountains.
You need to
though.
try it, though.
I've been to the mountains.
I have been to the mountains.
I've been to the mountains as well.
Wouldn't that
It's
be
fun.
sad though? I know people who have like never went and they're from here.
No, okay.
To the mountains?
So
Yeah.
from local to local, do you snowboard or ski?
Ski.
You do.
Well, my parents taught me to ski. I've been on a snowboard once.
Okay.
I
Do
know.
you still?
No.
Like regularly? No.
No. I'm
No?
not. I respect anyone who's up there, but
Yeah.
I'm not good
I
at
think
it.
I missed the window of like my enjoyable opportunity for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'm not so into it. Like people who are from Denver, I don't think like go as avidly as people that move here for the mountains. Like they
Totally.
move here to ski because it's like one of the best places in the world for that.
I mean,
Are you on a dating app? Because everybody skis. Everybody
Everyone's
skis.
doing that.
I don't do it. No, I don't do dating apps.
No,
I don't like it.
not your thing.
You know, I was on it one time in like 2010. And I didn't like it, and that was 13 years ago.
Oh my gosh,
It
I
just makes me. I don't. It gives me agita, really.
just jumped mentally on board this
To do
last
dating
year.
apps?
Yes.
I'm sure you've had some very unpleasant experiences.
Yes, 100. 100.
Very creepy guys.
100%.
Did you get the BWC fucking
I have
shit?
to. It's exhausting. I have to filter
Yeah.
like a lot. I'm like, okay, like every, I don't know, 15. Anyways, my point was though, is that everybody's a skier.
Yes.
And a hiker.
Yes.
Oh, and a fisher. And
Yeah.
you know what? Actually, I realized I do have a fishing, but not like one that's like this with the fish. I like am holding my 3 fishes.
Okay.
Or fish. Fish. How do you?
Fish. Fishies.
It's a multiple.
Fishies.
My fishy friends.
Fishies. Yeah,
Yeah, the
fishies.
the fishies.
I'll do the
Fishy
fishies.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I call them because I'm a big fish guy.
I'm a great fisher.
Are you really?
Yeah.
What do you do? Fly fishing? Do you do
No.
lake fishing?
I just like to go off the,
Off
you
the
know,
bank?
set up.
What
have
have you
my
caught?
whole little.
What's the do you do some smallmouth, largemouth bass, cutthroat
Just trout. Just
Okay.
trout. You
A lot
know,
of trout
I'm
here
an
in Colorado.
adult. I'm like have a lot of hobbies. Right. I was telling you I do ceramics, painting, all
Mm-hmm.
of that. So fishing I did do this summer. Like thank God I got at least like one day of fishing in. Caught 2 in a row.
That's terrific.
I was pretty like proud of myself.
Catch and release.
No, I ate them.
Good for you.
Yeah,
nice,
yeah.
That's
for sure.
fantastic.
Sorry for all the like animal lovers, but I do have chickens too, and I eat their eggs too. I'm like a total
Oh wow,
into.
that's
that.
tremendous.
So.
Yeah, that's tremendous. No, I'm on board with that. I think that's good. You know, I like fishing. We when Art and I went camping one time at St. Mary's Glacier, I pulled out a cutthroat trout, but she was pregnant, so I had to
Yeah.
throw her back.
Wow.
you know,
How'd
That
you
was
know?
the right thing to do.
So anytime you especially because it was the time of year, so it was May, June.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
So when I caught her, I kind of ran my finger down her belly side, and eggs popped out. And so that's an immediate. Could you eat her if you're in a survival situation? Of course. That's just
Bless
not
you.
the right thing to do.
She got caught by the right person.
Yeah, she got caught by the New England hillbilly, so to speak.
Wow.
But yeah, that's the right thing. I mean, if you're in a survival situation, of course you can eat her.
Yeah.
But the right thing to do is throw her back.
Yeah,
let
if it's
nature
just
take its
for like
course.
fun, you know, you should probably.
But you
give
ate
her
the
back.
trout, so did you gut it immediately, or did you like throw it in a cooler and take
You
it to
know,
the house?
I was blessed to be on the trip with a chef.
Okay,
Who
nice.
like had so like expert skills and just like. I was like, wow. It was like a show, you know, dinner and entertainment.
That's
so
awesome.
We 50-50
By the
whole
fire and
situation.
everything, it was a whole
Oh, yeah.
field. The whole
yeah,
field
whole
was
thing.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like a movie.
That's what you go for, the whole
Yeah.
like 9 yards. I try to do the whole experience, you know.
Absolutely, take it to the limit.
Yeah.
Push it to the limit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fun.
So I don't think I've ever had a fish that I don't think I've ever ate an animal that I
Delicious.
caught or killed. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
Or
think I've
like
ever done that.
cultivated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've smoked marijuana that I've grown. So like that's
That's a challenge.
That's like something.
Yeah.
right?
That is something.
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because that's also edible. I mean, you know, and it's vegan friendly.
True. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
For our
It's a
vegan
lot of
friends.
health benefits. I'm just saying.
It does have medicinal
Mhm.
purposes.
I'm from Colorado, a little biased, but
Hey, that's
you know,
all right,
whatever.
you know?
Most of the
You know, Bob Marley.
I voted on that.
Yeah. Hey.
I voted for it.
I
as,
voted
as
on
well,
that.
as
Yeah,
well.
I voted for it.
But Bob Marley, that music is heard around the globe.
Yeah, everybody loves Bob.
I think everybody's down. Everybody wants to dance a little bit with some incense in there.
I've
okay?
never heard anyone be like, oh, I hate Bob Marley.
Yeah.
That's
What's up
like,
with that?
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
No, never.
I don't think, especially in this. I mean, you might get some like the older crowd may still think it's like the devil's lettuce or whatever. You might still have a couple of those lingering.
But they'll listen.
They still listen
Yeah,
though. Yeah,
for
they'll put it
sure.
on and 3 little birds. Everything's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, when I first got into Bob Marley, so to speak, even before Bob Marley, was Tom Petty for me.
Yeah, basically, I'm saying Bob Marley is marijuana.
Yeah, I think we know that.
Ah,
Yeah.
ah.
No, she didn't. You-
I was trying to keep up here.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, because you didn't know?
Thank
Yeah,
you,
no,
though.
no,
For our
I
listeners,
could tell.
we
I
got
could tell.
you.
I could tell you needed a little.
Okay, that's fair.
Because she was like, everybody
Hey.
listens to Bob Marley.
So me and my good
Okay.
buddy from back home smashed my castle in my apartment. I'm not going to say his name on the air. Him and I.
GL.
That's fair. We'll give the initials. Love you, man. We would call it Bob Dylan
Okay.
instead of Bob
I
Marley.
mean, Bob Dylan still got down, didn't he?
Wait,
You
so
got
like
that.
these are your code names for
Yeah.
it?
It's because
Yeah.
you get, I'm old, so like there was
Yeah.
a time where it was taboo and we had to use.
Oh,
He's like,
we're
hey,
only like a couple years apart here. We call it a safety meeting.
A safety meeting?
Yeah.
I
Safety
just
meeting.
like to speak facetiously.
facetiously.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so I can sample like how are people reading between my lines? Like I like to say things in a way where it's like Like, are you gonna read between my lines and see what I'm actually saying here?
Most people don't know what I'm saying.
All right.
It's fun. It's fun to talk.
I
like
never
that.
passed that test.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, a lot of people do that, and I'm always like, oh yeah, I didn't get that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I thought that's what you were saying, like up front.
Oh, like I
you
listen
know, like
to Bob Marley
like
music.
Face value. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
oh. So then I turn really gullible because I'm not like reading between the lines, right?
Oh, is it? I was gonna make an AI joke there, but I didn't quite have one.
no.
I felt like there was something there.
There's probably something there.
I felt like there was something there.
Maybe.
Yeah. Being gullible is tough
Yeah,
because
yeah,
then
yeah.
it's like, if you're going to buy a car, you're like, somebody could sell you something and
Yeah.
they're going to convince you of it. If you're too gullible, right?
But so
it's
if you
important to
know
be
you're
leery.
gullible, then
That's a great
do you just not trust anything? Like, does your level of trust for people decrease if you're gullible?
Good point or good question.
Okay, so like real life answer. Let's see. I read more body language than I do listen to the actual words.
Okay. The body usually. So
Can't lie.
since you know about this, what is the most telling part of the body for body language?
Your hands. No.
That's a good guess. So it's actually your feet, because your feet are how we travel. So
Okay.
generally,
Yeah, see, I'm nervous.
Yeah. So if you shaking, or if someone shifts their feet to point toward a door or an exit, then it's signaling that they're ready to leave.
Yep.
So the feet and legs actually give away your body language
Definitely,
the most.
yeah, your
Okay.
position there. And then shoulders, too. I mean, because I think we're both experts in reading body language. Shoulders, I typically see when people are a little uncomfortable.
You're right.
They tend to do something like this, or they're unsure of themselves. Shoulders can
Yeah.
definitely have a lot to do with hands too, though. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, I'm kind of a hand talker, so body language.
Everything's
happen.
important.
There's a lot of things
Yeah.
to read here. There,
Yes.
and yeah, there's something to be known
Well,
about.
and it's really subconsciously. You're not like telling your hand to move or telling your foot to point this way.
True.
So I think it's a little more telling than when you're actually listening to somebody.
That's a good point.
Body language does not lie.
It's true.
And it's
It's
interesting once you start learning about that as well.
Yeah.
I used to sell cars, so there was some techniques that you could tell if like you were gonna get the sell or not, or if this client trusted you or not. And what people do is if they like trust you or admire you in any way, then they'll mimic you. So like if I was to like lean in on a transaction, be like, hey, come take a look at this, and then the customer would lean in, or you would lean back and like put your leg up or something, and then if they then lean back. But on the contrary, if I was trying to
Right.
earn the trust of somebody, I would intentionally mimic their body language. So that way,
The art of the sale.
Yeah. So then that way they're
Is
like,
that a book?
oh,
It is.
he moves the same way as me, like in this and that, and then they start to get comfortable
God.
because you're mimicking their body language, and so it's that whole subject's really interesting. It is. It's an interesting.
Well, now that
subject.
you mention it,
Yeah.
I knew the first part, but I didn't think about the second part of like manipulating or like
paying
manipulating
attention to
this is-
somebody's body language and then mimicking them.
curating the whole situation. I guess I thought, yeah, when I noticed somebody doing the same mannerisms as me, I'm like, oh, they totally like me. But I didn't take it a step further, thinking like, oh, well, I should mimic them so that like
You
they
might
feel
naturally do it
liked
though,
by me.
but you might naturally already do it with different people, and you don't even know.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
There's just a lot of what if scenarios there because I mean it could be because I've experienced that both being in sales, being in podcasts, and seeing how people react to certain situations, dating, all that stuff. Body language is crucial to pay attention to what's going on, right? And sometimes it's like, okay, this person is either completely uninterested, too much interested, or don't know what's going on.
Yeah, totally.
But that's just repetition is the mother of skill. The more times you see it, the more times you practice it, the more times you understand it, the more times it makes sense.
I'm gonna have to read the Art of the Sale. That sounds really interesting.
It's a Donald Trump book.
Well, in the
Oh.
book that
Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Mom. Don't want to piss you off.
Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll
That's
find
funny.
the subject somewhere else.
So one that wasn't written by the ex-president of
I
you
heard
know
his
whatever.
name is Jared.
No, it's Donald Drumpf. What is his real last name?
Donald A. Trump.
Well, no, I think his real the J is Jared.
Is it Jared?
Yeah.
I actually don't know.
Only
that.
because
I don't
I'm
know the answer.
watching, I'm binge watching, catching up from season 1, keeping up with the Kardashians.
Okay.
Mind
can't
you,
do
like, mad props to those women. They are badasses.
Okay. Are they
really?
Entrepreneurs since '07.
Wow.
They were on Blackberries, these ladies. I was like, dang, I haven't seen a Blackberry in so long. But,
don't know
okay,
much
anyways,
about 'em.
she has to go talk to in an episode, she's talking to Jared.
Okay.
They don't even say his last name in the episodes. They say
Interesting.
Jared, which is how I learned his
And that was
his
Donald Trump?
like, name. Yeah.
Interesting.
To go do, she like does prison, she works with prison reform. Kim Kardashian.
Well, wasn't she married to Kanye for a bit? And Kanye's good friends with Donald Trump, I think.
Well, I'm not sure. Kanye is a whole nother.
I don't know much about him.
He's a little in the show, and like she tries to explain him.
Yeah.
But he is very sporadic.
I mean, if
on,
you gotta
like, his
explain your man
decisions.
to people, that's kind of
Didn't they name their
that's
kid
like that's
Northwest?
like a flag.
Yeah, yeah.
Northwest.
Northwest.
Kind of a cool name, I guess.
Saint Psalm in Chicago. Which,
Yeah.
all right, like I think I'd be cool with
You think
my name
Kanye's a
being
beta?
Chicago.
I mean,
No doubt.
anyone can.
Wait,
be.
no.
Is he a beta?
Alpha?
No, beta.
Yeah, anyone could be a
Neither
beta.
of them are submissive. They
Yeah.
both were like real outspoken, real entrepreneurial, real like heavy decision makers.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why they didn't work out.
So you had two alphas, is what you're thinking, going head to head?
But two alphas can be together, I believe.
It's they
you know?
yes. It
and,
goes,
and that's actually like the pinnacle of a relationship. It's like two people that are actually individually fulfilled.
because
and
alpha doesn't
staying centered.
necessarily just mean like the masculine energy, like we were talking about before.
Yeah.
We went on mic.
Okay.
So two alphas could work. Art, you're right.
Yeah, because
you-
basically alpha mentality is like you're centered. You know what your goals are in life. You know what you want to
Okay.
achieve. And you are not reactive to other people. Like you stay centered regardless of what external forces come into your life. And if you can stay centered, then that's like an alpha mentality. And then being extremely reactive and like this and that would be more of a beta mentality. Like, oh, this
Okay.
bad thing happened. It happened for 3 minutes, and now I'm going to complain about it for the rest of my
And
day.
let me
Yeah.
ruin my day, which
Yeah.
I used to do all the
that's-
time. in
that's
my
you
what
20s.
guys
some
don't
beta
do that?
shit. That's
You
some
guys
beta
don't
shit.
like-
I was a
No,
total
I'm just
beta male in my
kidding.
20s.
Look, there's
Total
a
beta.
there's a fine
Definitely
line
my 20s.
between
Oh, hands down.
venting and complaining. Venting is healthy. Complaining is a waste of time for everybody. And there's a thin line
There
in
is
between
definitely
those.
a thin line, for
There is.
sure.
And it needs to just be more like, because we've talked about this a few times, like the beta, alpha, masculine, feminine, all these things are legit. They exist, right? But it's more of a guideline. Like it's not there to like reward or, demean somebody. Like
Yeah.
if someone's being baited, that doesn't mean you're a weak person or like I think less of you. You don't have a
This
place
is a
in
liability
this world.
warning right now. Like, I'm warning. Don't take this seriously. Don't
Exactly.
put yourself in a box.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For sure.
It's a guideline. It's simply a guide of kind of, where you want your mindset to be, where you want to align your goals. It's not an insult. It's nothing like that. It's just simply an observation of behaviors, I feel like.
Yeah.
Totally.
And with, staying centered, aka like the alpha mentality, none of these things are consistent. Like you have to work to maintain these type of mentalities. And like we kind of joke around about it. Like I could beta bottom at any moment. Like
Same.
I could have a moment where I'm just completely insecure. I'm unsure about myself, and that's okay if we hit those low areas. But we just got to come on the bounce back.
Yeah.
So we could beta bottom,
Yep.
but we got to bounce back from it. And like you're not an alpha consistently, you're not a beta consistently. It's like you have to maintain these things.
Correct.
And they're fluid. Like I can flow between, and like sure I might be heavy on one end 1 week or like so. I think there's all these misconceptions on this alpha beta conversation.
Agreed.
And it's fluid, and you can be either, and it's whatever. I think it's really the main thing is to not react to reality as much, and really stay cemented in like your own personal individual happiness.
Correct.
And do your best to maintain in that space. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's the most important lesson from like that whole centered or reactive kind of conversation.
In moderation.
Yeah.
Right? Everything in like a good balance. And I
Yeah.
think we're all like, regardless of gender, race, all of those labels that we have, I think we're all really finding a way to be okay with being any of it, with all of it, all at the same time, right? It's okay to be a beta. It's okay to be an alpha. It's okay to be upset, not upset, overanalyzing, overthinking. It's okay.
Agreed.
I think at the end of the day, moderation.
It
right?
is. Because it's not less or more. Like, you're not better. You're not a better person if you're alpha, and you're not a weak person if you're a beta, right? I think that's the biggest misconception that I've seen when we talk about it, because people they immediately want to get defensive. Like, well, wait a minute. I crush life. I'm this. And yes, that's all well and good. It's simply coming down to specific things. And then, especially when we start talking about the dating world, that's a whole area when it comes to a level of attraction, right? We see a lot of beta males out in the world. We see a lot of beta females out in the world, and vice versa, all that kind of stuff. But you'd mentioned online dating. I'm sure you have seen a lot of beta male tendencies, which is, it could be a wide variety of things, and maybe even had some first dates where you're like, this is feminine energy. I'm getting feminine energy from this guy. I can't do it.
Well, it's neither of those, actually. It's more of like, because we're coming into the acceptance of all of these things, of who we can be as a multifaceted human being, you're not seeing the true authentic person in front of you. You're seeing what this person might think that you want in front of you.
So you're seeing like an act or almost fakeness?
Or you're
someone
trying
who's just not in tune with who they want to be presenting themselves to be.
Interesting.
Like every character of ourselves is based on a choice that we've made throughout our life or throughout the day. And sometimes we make a choice that's inauthentic to ourselves. And I think dating, for sure, meeting someone, you present yourself that could be inauthentic because you're trying to fit into this, like, oh, well, this person seems alpha. Maybe I should be alpha, so that way they like who I am presenting myself to be. I think we get caught up in all of that. But actually, I wanted to say a comment on the positive and negative words that you were saying. Kanye, in one of the episodes, had everyone take out a dictionary and find a word and then state whether they thought it was positive or negative. Or, like, they were only supposed to pick out a positive word.
Okay.
And so, like, Kim picked out barter, but then they all sat around and discussed why that wasn't a positive word or why they did feel it was a positive word, and, like, breaking down those barriers of those negative connotations that we attach to certain words that really are just a way to communicate with each other.
And so, but where did barter land on the positive negative scale?
Oh, negative. It was like, because it was like selling and trading,
Sure.
and like there was like words within the definition that were triggering.
Okay.
Like hardworking was something in the definition of bartering, and like
Why would that be triggering?
just because hard work usually means that you don't have money, or like that could be tied. And like since Kanye, worked or like grew up from a really small, what is it, very like quaint background. Hard work to him
Blue collar
could be very like negative because you have to do it in order to survive, kind of thing. At least that's maybe my interpretation.
No, that's fair. I'm just curious as to why hardworking would be a trigger word there.
Well, also he was like surrounded by the Kardashians, who are legitimately like dirty, filthy, rich. They're like oozing money, and he's like, yeah, hard work.
Interesting. I don't know a ton of Kanye's backstory. I liked his music when he first came out, like when he first debuted. His first couple records I thought were good.
I think he's just totally trying to get reactions out of people.
You think that's what it is? Like a troll?
What was kind of conveyed in the series, or like the episode where he wore Trump's "Make America Great Again" hat, which is where like seemed supportive of Trump. He was like, I'm just trying to lead with love.
I'm pretty sure he's been in the Oval Office with Trump.
For sure, right? There was like pictures of him like handshaking Trump. And in the episode I watched, it seemed that he was trying to support Kim because she needed the president's signature to release this woman who had been in jail after like a domestic violence situation. So then Trump like signed off on that.
Like a pardon?
Yes. And Kanye was like, I'm all about Trump. I'm all about it. He did it. He did this. I'm celebrating it. And like no one else but him could have done this. And so he was like celebrating that moment of Trump. But again, like, I'm just regurgitating what Kim conveyed her husband trying to do.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know enough about that to speak on that. I'm not sure what happened.
You know, I don't know. I'm not like a big Kanye fan. I'm really not. It's interesting to see him on the show because I don't really understand that person.
Are they still together?
No.
Okay.
No, but it is kind of recent. It was last year she
Is that
divorced
it?
him.
I feel like it was a while ago.
I have a hard time
Me
keeping up
too,
with that stuff.
but also
Maybe
that's
just
why.
it's been busy. It's just been busy.
Yeah. I don't know. I think publicly it was last year, and probably
was probably
behind the
before that, yeah.
scenes.
It's hard to keep up with the celebrity relationships. It's just too much.
Well, there was a moment where she was going to the Met Gala, and she was wearing this like. She's wild, but she's wearing this like silicone dress with like the dripping like jewelry. I don't know if you remember.
I kind of remember that.
Well, he was like, "That's too sexy for you to wear,"
Oh, see,
that's beta.
That's beta.
That's beta.
and she
That-
was
that's
like,
being beta, yes.
This is
So
you're
Kanye is a
being
beta.
ridiculous."
In that moment, he was being a beta.
I think he's a beta. There was a Band-Aid situation where,
Sorry,
like,
Kanye.
I mean, they have like Kim, the Kardashians have
Yeah.
like tons of people to do things for them because they run like multiple businesses, and he wanted her to go get him a Band-Aid.
That's beta. Just
And
be
then
weak, needy, and
she was
insecure.
like, "Here, one of the kids have
where it
like
is.
a cool, I don't know if it was like Power Rangers or I don't know something silly." And he was like, "You expect your husband to go out in that Band-Aid? I make sure you look good, and you want me to wear that out?" Like,
That's
I was
beta.
like, "Wow."
I would wear that Band-Aid. But then also, just like, and this goes for all the sexes. If you are insecure of your attractive partner and looking good in public, then that's beta. Like, you should have confidence that they that they are yours, and you should be like, anybody could come talk to my girl up in here looking so cute, and I'm confident in her that she's gonna still come home with me, and like, who cares if she has a little conversation with somebody else looking good?
100%.
Like, that's how it should
Yeah.
be.
I'm
Like,
not sure why you would
yeah.
want them to not look good.
Yeah, and feel good
Good
about
point.
themselves. Like, she's feeling good. She's feeling sexy.
She
or
looks
whatever.
good.
Like,
She's
yeah.
groomed. She has her hair done. She's, touching every piece, of making sure it looks perfect. And you're like, "I don't want you to look like that." What?
Yeah.
It's a level of control that's unnecessary because everyone deserves to feel good when they go out, and they should whatever that looks like to
Yes.
you,
Yeah.
whether that is being conservative or whether that is being very sexy. Do it, right? And if someone around you is going to give you a hard time about it, it's no good.
Yeah.
It's no good.
I mean, yeah, I don't think that's something that anyone should really have an input on. What you look like, how you choose
Agreed.
to wear your hair, all of those. Like, you are choosing the person, whether it's a friend or your business partner or your mate, or your partner. Who cares what they look like on the outside? You're choosing the person on the inside. The
Yep.
person on the outside isn't gonna like talk to you, like.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing right there.
I think you
Whole
look
thing.
good on the outside and the inside, Art.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. I love your old boots with holes in them.
Thank you.
And I don't care. I don't care what anybody says.
Thank you.
And
appreciate
I
that.
won't ever share what they say because I only build you up.
What a solid lad.
No, I don't hear anything about your boots. If anything, it's only compliments. Like, hey, that guy's jeans and boots be looking good.
That's what I like. It goes back to what we're saying. Being comfortable going out, dressing up how you want to look.
Yeah.
Supportive for the differences and the similarities.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
doesn't Caitlyn Jenner have some sort of involvement with the Kardashians?
Oh my gosh. Actually, she was the reason why I
like Caitlyn
started
Jenner.
watching it.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
But I became not a fan of Caitlyn Jenner after that. I mean, it's not like a personal thing, right? Like, it didn't happen to me. I don't know their world, but I do understand what happened where she just, divorce is messy, and they have like 7 kids together.
Yeah.
That's a lot of kids.
Or like 4, 5, 6. They got a lot of kids together, and so I think that whole dynamic really plays a part in Caitlyn Jenner and the relationship that they have with her. And it's really like, because then she has 2 kids with Chris, the mom.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know any. I don't know
It's
any.
so
I can't
it's
name
so complicated, and like bless Caitlyn Jenner and all of that situation. If you realize it, we're all doing every situation once.
It's true.
So it's hard to say, like, no one's a bad or a good person. There's that really even shouldn't exist. We all are just like making choices, and and Caitlyn Jenner, I'm just not a fan of some of her choices. We'll put it that way. I don't like dislike. I'm so glad what she did for the trans community was beyond epic, beyond phenomenal, like beyond words. I think that was a pivotal moment in their community that she took the opportunity and did it. And wow. She did that. Was it it was pre-pandemic.
Oh,
yeah.
it was like 2012.
Way
It
pre-pandemic.
was before it was like a thing.
Man, she, I think, changed the game.
Yeah, I would say yes and no. I don't know if I agree with that entirely, just because I feel like Caitlyn's kind of like more on the conservative side, which is interesting.
Oh my God, it was wild.
Whereas you see a little bit more of the
You're
modern
right.
day trans are more like,
Maybe I'm not caught up on Caitlyn Jenner either.
Politically, I hear what she has to say on some things, and I kind of like her stance as a trans individual, is kind of putting her foot down on like, no, this is unacceptable, that's unacceptable. You should be a certain age to do these things, and that's kind of what I like about it.
Okay,
Kind of defending, children a little bit. But outside of that, I don't know much about Bruce, Caitlyn, you name it.
I don't know if I'm caught up on Caitlyn Jenner's politics, but it's hard to say when it comes to kids. I'm not a mom yet, so I try to reserve that for folks who are parents and have that firsthand experience. But for myself, for baby Amanda, I think I would have, as her like caretaker and guardian, been like, you should wait. You should wait on any. I don't know if I'd even want. I barely did LASIK this year because of the fact that I was so scared to have outside influences of my health in general. Because the healthcare system, that's a whole nother.
Oh yeah,
that's a whole topic there.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that, as an 18-year-old, I definitely did. We were just talking about being in our 20s. Like, I definitely didn't make great decisions or know what was going on with myself, let alone having to decide what my gender or what my sexuality or who I was, all of those questions really haven't been answered until maybe now, till after 30s. But yeah, I think she leans to very conservative. And I think that she, as a person, as a human being, I would agree with some of the decisions that she makes. She definitely, I think, comes from a place of well-being and health, not necessarily like a subjective view. She's very, throughout the Kim Kardashian episodes, like pre-Caitlyn, Bruce was always very like well-being concerned, even of like Kim and the girls, of doing any racy, any sexual, because of the sex tape, all of that. Bruce was very like, you need to keep it tight-lipped, you need to be more protective of yourself. And so I could see myself in being in agreement with that, just because I guess I don't know the real person.
Yeah,
reality shows really mess you up in that sense.
How much can we judge somebody based upon
a program,
a predispositioned opinion that's being sent to us?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just talking about the character that's played on the show, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I've just seen interviews and heard things and seen things, so it's like, you develop an opinion just based on that, but I haven't, deep dove into what that looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a whole rabbit hole there. That whole thing.
Man.
Goes into a community that's, a very big topic at this current time.
I will say we're blessed to be in Colorado. Colorado's really progressive. I feel like it's the new Amsterdam. Amsterdam has like so many open, free, just very, what is it? Like very, like you can choose what you want and what kind of life you want to live. I feel like Colorado's
even
very
with like
much
assisted
that.
suicide and stuff like that. Even with
there's
that.
Yeah, euthanasia. We voted on that too here.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of good things that I think Colorado can offer. I'm for it. I'm a personal believer in personal freedom and liberty, right? So
Totally.
make your own decisions. Calculated. I'm not saying this is a free-for-all. I still am conservative in a lot of areas, and there's a lot of things I'm going to put my foot down on and things I'm going to support and things I'm going to be against. But I'm always open to hearing conversations, arguments about it. I'm not going to be like, nope, I want to hear it, fingers in my ears, head in the sand.
Oh, yeah.
I'll always at least make an educated opinion about it. But the only thing I'll say on that is, I think it's good to be progressive. I think it's good to accept new things, but also to be leery at the same time, because if you go too far in one direction, things can go off the rails. Either way.
I highly respect anyone who resorts to critical thinking about any topic. Please always think.
Let's think about what we're thinking
Have your
about.
own opinion.
Yeah.
Formulate an educated opinion that is your own.
I agree with that.
Always for that.
Yeah, don't be influenced by the shit that I've said on this podcast for the last 5 years. Go out and do your own research. I'm not a scientist. I don't know shit. I'm not a politician. I wanted to be at one time. I don't want to do that anymore. But yeah, to your point, make educated decisions. Do research on these topics, because I think it's so easily to be nowadays with social media, with you watch podcasts and you hear somebody talk so passionately about something, and that can change someone's opinion, and this person can be full shit. So it's like you gotta do your own research to really stand on something, whatever that topic is. Do your research.
I'm way more interested in hearing an individual opinion that is differing of mine. Why hear the same opinion that I have when I can hear something different?
Yep, I agree with that for sure, and that's why it's important too.
You're going to learn more, yeah.
To not just listen to things that align with your beliefs, right? Hence the mainstream media, people typically, I'm only watching this journalist.
Ooh.
Get all of it in the mix. Get all of it in the mix, because you just don't know what's out there until you take a look. And it's easy to get pulled into that stuff. I was guilty of it, especially in my 20s again.
Yeah.
Of just getting pulled in one direction.
I mean, I wasn't very educated on it.
I'm still not.
On politics, on what an escrow was. Like, I don't know. I for years, I was like, what's an escrow? And I'm sure there's people out there that are like, what is an escrow?
I don't, currently sitting across the couch. Like, I have no idea what an escrow is.
It's like a bank account for your house. When you buy a house, you're basically putting it into an escrow that then I can't even finish that sentence. But it's when you pay your mortgage.
Okay.
Your mortgage payment is divvied up depending on how you've set up your mortgage. It's a whole government thing.
It is.
But that's a good point, because if it's a government thing, then shouldn't we have access to that information?
In theory, yes.
Pretty easily, since it's what governs us.
So yeah, I mean, in conclusion, we can go down a lot of rabbit holes there.
Google it.
At the end of the day, I'll go on record to say I am in favor of less government, more freedom. That's where I stand. I don't think the government needs to be involved in our lives, making a lot of these big decisions. I understand there's arguments for universal health care and things of this nature. I get it, but I think less freedom, or more freedom, less government really is the way to go. That's my final take on it. We're not going to go too deep into politics, but that's kind of
that's a whole couple day conversation.
So,
we can debate.
What's great about this though is I don't normally see Kevin this comfortable to say something so definitive. So all that says to, and maybe that's not the truth, but I'm just kind of segueing here. So the reason why he's this comfortable is because you have been an amazing speaker. You've shared some awesome stories with us. And honestly, this could be like a 3-hour-long podcast.
This could be a Joe Rogan.
I feel it.
I could already tell. Yeah, I could tell. But I wanted to ask, and we always ask a question to every guest. Same question. Do you know the question?
No.
Okay, because I know you're kind of newer to DCPC. But we asked this question to everybody. Kevin, you want to take it?
Sure. So obviously, every guest, same question, coming at you hot. Here we go.
Okay.
If you could offer one piece of advice that would better humanity tomorrow, what would that piece of advice be?
Wow.
Everybody hears it. Everybody on the planet is going to hear this.
Oh man, always assume kindness. I think that'll better our mind and others as well. Always
Okay.
assume kindness.
Assume kindness.
Assume kindness. Because when we veer from that, I think that's when our world becomes dark and negative. We control our own world. We construct our own world. We are creators.
So okay, so let's say that someone was being rude to me in public, like scoffing at me or something. Like, how would one, like, assume kindness? Like, I just want to, like, I think it's great advice, but I want to know, like, in practice, how would one accomplish this?
Well, who's this person?
I don't know. Like, it could be.
Let's call him Bob.
Who is Bob?
Do you need to know this person in order to say, you know what, that wasn't about me?
Yeah. So not taking it personally.
Not taking it personal.
So, like, you're assuming
ask more questions.
Kindness within yourself. Like, assume kindness within yourself. Is
Yes.
like where.
But I think assume that what's happening on the other side of things isn't about you necessarily.
Yes.
You didn't create that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not connected to you.
Okay.
You
That's
know?
healthy.
But also being curious. Curiosity leads to a little bit more than just, what if you ask them how their day was? Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
They're rude to you, but are they okay?
Probably not.
I
Yeah.
think leading with curiosity and asking more questions opens up a conversation of what's really going on.
That's true.
It's great advice. I think, and I can speak to that personally. I mean, I spent a lot of time in airports or running into people in public, and a lot of folks say, "Hey, Kev, you're a good listener." I generally am curious. I like to hear people's stories. I like to know what's going on more than just the "Hey, how are you? Good. How are you?"
Mm-hmm.
No, tell me what's going on. Where are you going? What's going on? What you working on? I want to know what's going on around me. I think that's fun. It's a good way to meet people and to learn things and to just learn basic interaction skills. I feel like kindness. Ask people like truly care how they're doing, not just hey, how are you? Merry Christmas, good to see you. We're all programmed to say that.
Yeah.
But maybe deep dive into that a little bit and really talk to an individual.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In Germany, they don't do that. They don't
Really?
do the hey,
Hi,
how are
hello.
you? Yeah. When I
Small
first
talk.
moved back, I was like, it was driving me insane because you don't actually answer it. Or like courtesy is you don't answer that really.
Like, you don't answer it honestly.
Right.
But,
You're
like,
just like, I'm good, thanks.
When someone asks me how my day
point.
is, like, I'll straight up be like, do you want to know the truth, or like,
And they're like,
or what's going on here?
They're not prepared for it.
Or I might ask, or if somebody shares a little bit more, I'm like, how is your day going? And they share something that's not going that well. I actually thank them for like being vulnerable about that. So to kind of, you got to thank people and like, hey, thank you for sharing the truth with me. Thanks for being honest with me. Yeah, some days just suck. Like, that's just how it goes.
Totally. Yeah.
And that's okay. And allow that sucky day to happen because, that's just how it goes. Like, not every day is good. But to assume kindness, so I'm trying to, like, feel how, like, I can apply, like, how this looks. Because it is within. It's like we're not assuming what other people think. It's like assuming kindness within myself. And so maybe that could be like if somebody was rude to me and instead of reacting, or somebody cut me off in traffic and instead of reacting to them cutting me off, maybe I could assume kindness by being like, you know what, I'm actually going to give them the space to get in there. Maybe they are in an emergency situation where they need to speed and drive like an asshole.
I could do better at that.
So I guess that could be like an area where you're assuming kindness could be in like traffic.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, that's a good point, Art, because I have road rage pretty bad.
I always try to kill the road rage with kindness.
Really?
Yeah. People usually, well, I mean, okay, I don't always get road rage thrown at me. Let's be clear about that. But when it does, because it runs rampant around here, I don't look. Like, I just like don't
That's
look.
probably the best
Don't
thing you
acknowledge
do.
it.
Yeah,
even pay
don't
attention
feed the
to it.
fire.
Yeah.
Like, let them flip me off. Let them, honk their horn. But like, just keep it pushing because I don't want. They're already mad.
Yeah.
Yep. And they're already. It's just like a bully. They're looking
And
for a
people
reaction.
have guns and stuff too.
People
and,
do
like,
have guns.
Yeah,
we don't need to take
you
it to
never
that extent.
know,
in road rage, but some people do.
They're already on the run.
Yeah.
They're.
Yeah.
The only
So-
time I get upset on the roadways is when my safety's compromised. That's the only time. Like when somebody makes a really, really aggressive move that almost puts me in the wall or turns me into another lane, that's where I get upset. I'm like, come on, it's so inconsiderate.
It's wild. The traffic here has changed. You gotta be like on your toes.
Defensive driving 101. Put the phones down.
Only. That's the only way you survive
you
on
can't
these
be on
roads.
Your phone. You have to be watching what's going on. You 360 at all times when you're wherever you're going.
People are on their phone. Like if you see a slow car, they're on their phone.
Oh yeah, they're
'cause
swerving
they're doing
and shit.
this.
Yeah, they're texting.
10 miles below the speed limit. I'm like,
They're doing selfies and
Oh
shit
my gosh.
while they're driving. Come on, guys.
It's gotten pretty bad. We need automatic cars already.
See, but that makes me nervous
That's
too,
scary
though.
too, because then we're putting like all
Our faith
this,
in AI.
Oh, and,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
We can't trust AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever see The Terminator?
Or Minority Report.
Oh, God.
I mean, I guess it predates.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. No, so great conversation. I love the advice to humanity. Where can everybody check out your stuff? And we'll leave links in the show notes
please.
below.
Down below.
Down below. But where can everybody check you out and support what you do?
Avant-Garde org pretty much is all our handles. We're going to do Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Did I say Facebook? Yeah,
Yes.
I think I said Facebook. Avantgarde.org is our website. Check it out. Sign up as a member. We're doing a member subscription. We've got a newsletter. Sign up for everything. Links below.
Yes.
Links below.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah, we'll include those. Easy peasy. What a great conversation. This thing could have gone, like I said, 3-hour Rogan.
yeah.
Definitely going to be a repeat guest. I can already tell your energy's fantastic.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
in the wheelhouse now.
I can't wait. Oh, my God.
Yeah, we're getting you back. We're getting you back.
You'll
in
be
there.
back.
Great.
That's
Yeah.
it. Once you're in, there ain't no getting out. It's kind of like the Sopranos deal. So that happens.
I made it past.
We're going to continue this great conversation off mic. We got to get out of here. Where are we at? We are at 2:38. We got the Christmas special coming up next week.
Yes.
Looking forward to that. Special guest
Yes.
for the Christmas special. Again, congrats to Lupita Leon for being DCP's Fan of the Year. Thanks for your continued support. Awesome that we get to do this every week. All right,
Yes.
I love it. We get to sit across the table from great people like Amanda every single week. We're so
So awesome.
fortunate, so blessed to be able to do this. And as you know, people, be good to yourselves.
You deserve it.